Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. It means everything to me. Before we get started, I just want to say to everybody that has been reaching out to me, showing me support, I appreciate you so much. When I tell you I appreciate you, I truly, truly mean it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Please leave me a comment. Please leave me a like. It would mean so much to me. You guys are just the best, and I thank you, thank you, thank you. Hishu Yones was born into a Muslim family in Iraq in 1986. She was the second of three children born to Abdallah and Tanya Yones. Abdallah was an active member of the Patriotic Unit of Kurdistan and fought for them from 1980 to 1991. Many of the Yones family members were killed under the tenure of Saddam Hussein, and Abdallah himself was injured by a chemical weapons attack that would result in lasting consequences. Abdallah and his family would flee to the United Kingdom during the Gulf War, and the family was granted asylum. It is said that the family adjusted well to their new life, but Abdallah acted more like a fish out of water. While in the UK, the Yonis children were expected to live by the family cultures and religious traditions. Because of this, Hishu was forced to lead a double life, putting on makeup only after she left the house for the day, had friends lie about her whereabouts so she could spend time with the boyfriend that she wasn't allowed to have. Her school grades began slipping. She began failing exams and running up huge cell phone bills. In the summer of 2002, the Yonis family returned to Iraq for a holiday visit. Hishu was so scared that her father would steal her passport that she left a copy with her friend and recorded a video diary during the trip. She was also forced to undergo a virginity test, which she failed. Failing this test made her unmarriageable. This angered her father so much that he held a loaded gun to her head. And after the family returned home from the trip, Hishu began making plans to run away from home. On October 10, 2002, Hishu's father was sent an anonymous letter stating that his daughter had a boyfriend that the community was aware of, and went on to refer to Hishu as a prostitute. 2 days later, on October 12, 2002, Abdallah smashed his way into a bathroom where Hishu was barricading herself. After gaining entry into the bathroom, Abdallah stabbed his daughter multiple times and then slit her throat. He would then attempt to take his own life by slitting his throat and throwing himself off of a balcony. Abdallah would spend several months in the hospital recovering from his self-inflicted injuries. His wife and oldest son would try to shield him from police questioning by calling him unstable. They would insist that Al-Qaeda was responsible for the murder. Hishu's family attempted to portray themselves as a loving family, but there is an abundance of evidence to the contrary, in the form of friends, videos recorded by Hishu, and a letter she had written when she was planning to run away that stated, "Bye, Dad. Sorry I was so much trouble. Me and you will probably never understand each other, but I'm sorry I wasn't what you wanted. Hey, for an older man, you have a good, strong punch and kick. I hope you enjoyed testing your strength on me. It was fun being on the receiving end. Well done." Yones would make another suicide attempt while waiting for his trial to start. He blamed his actions on the fury he felt from the anonymous letter, saying it left him feeling disgusted and distressed, that his daughter's actions left a stain on the family honor. On September 30th, 2003, he was sentenced to life in prison. When Sadie's parents, Tariq and Parveen, tried to force their daughter into an arranged marriage in Pakistan with her cousin that she had never met, she refused. Sadie instead left home to study law and moved in with a man named Gene. On October 22nd, 2007, 20-year-old Sadia was in her last year of law school. She went over to her family's home in hopes of mending her relationship with them. But instead, she was shot by her brother 3 times, with one of the bullets hitting her sister in the arm. November 21st, 2011. Sadia's parents, her brother, and the sister that got shot all stood trial. The brother was charged with the murder, while the rest were accused of aiding and abetting. Prosecutors sought 20 to 30 years for the sister, who held Sadia down while she was shot. Sadia's brother confessed to the crime at his trial. He admitted that the murder was premeditated, but then said he didn't want to take her life, but he wanted to make her feel as bad as he felt. On December 9th, 2011, a jury found all 4 family members guilty. They found the parents had orchestrated the murder, ordering their son to kill their daughter, and because of that, the brother only received 15 years. Sadia's parents were sentenced to 20 to 25 years each, and her 22-year-old sister, Soraya, who was 5 months pregnant at the time, was given 5 years in prison. British Pakistani Shafilia Ahmed was born on July 14, 2003. Shafilia was an A student at Priestley College and had dreams of becoming a lawyer. On a trip to Pakistan in 2003, Shafilia drank bleach in an attempt to take her own life, and would suffer extensive damage from it. Her parents claimed that she believed the bleach was mouthwash during a power outage. That I don't know what kind of bleach they used, but I know that in a blackout, heavily intoxicated, during an earthquake, with a tornado coming straight at me, I still would not mistake bleach for mouthwash. It was also during this trip that Shafilia would turn down a suitor in an arranged marriage, even though her parents would later say that there was no marriage that was arranged. Shafilia Ahmed went missing on September 11, 2003, but her disappearance wouldn't be reported to police for an entire week. And Shafilia's disappearance wouldn't be reported to police by her parents. No. It would be by her teachers. A nationwide hunt was launched for Shafilia, but the major red flags would go up for detectives when they realized Shafilia failed to seek treatment for the bleach incident and that she had recently turned down a suitor for an arranged marriage. Shafilia's dismembered remains would be found in February of 2004 in the River Kent after heavy flooding. She would be identified by a ring and a bracelet that was found with the body. Because of the advanced stages of decomposition, it was impossible to determine the exact cause of death. Detective Mike Forrester would say that it was unclear if all of the body parts were even found. But what was clear is that through DNA, there is a 1,000,000,000% chance that the remains found were those of Shafilia. And further confirmation that this was Shafilia would come after a dental examination. Shafilia's mother, father, and 5 members of their extended family were arrested and then released without charge. Shafilia's parents would call her awful names for things such as dyeing her hair or wearing fake nails. 3 years after Shafilia's death, police still didn't have a suspect, even though 8 members of her family were arrested on suspicion of conspiracy. August 25, 2010. Shafilia's younger sister Alicia arranged for a fake robbery to take place at her parents' home when her brother, sisters, parents, and herself were all in the home. She would be arrested for planning the fake robbery, but more importantly, it would be this arrest that blew her sister's murder case out of the water, telling police that her parents were the ones that murdered her sister after she dishonored the family by refusing her parents' suitor for an arranged marriage. So on September 11, 2003, Shafilia's parents put a plastic bag over her face and suffocated her to death. September 7, 2011, police would announce that Ahmed's parents had been charged with her murder. Their trial began in May of 2012. In July of 2012, a new witness would enter the scene. This witness would be Shafilia's sister Mer's best friend, Shaheen Munir. Shaheen had carried the secret of her best friend's sister's murder for 4 whole years. Mev confided in Shaheen that she witnessed the murder in a series of letters written to her. But after the parents' arrest, she knew it was time to come forward and tell police what she knew. She would testify against Iftika and Fazana at their trial, helping to secure their murder conviction. She would tell the Sun in February of 2020 that going to police was the hardest thing she's ever had to do, but she knew it was the right thing, saying, quote, "I helped to get justice for Shafilia, but in doing so, I lost my best friend Mev," end quote. She would go on to tell the Sun that Mev was scared that if she or Shaheen went to police, that her life would be in danger as well, and that weighed heavily on her mind because she didn't want anything bad to happen to her friend. She knows that she hurt her best friend who'd confided in her, but an innocent young woman had lost her life. Shaheen knew that Shafilia had been missing for a few years, but she never asked because she didn't want to pry. She knew something was wrong with her best friend Mev, but never had a minute to ask because the girls were never allowed out on their own. In August of 2008, she finally got up the courage to ask Mev what happened to Shafilya. She told her first in letters, then in person, that her father put a plastic bag over her head. She tried to stop it, but her mother knocked her back. Afterwards, the girls watched out their window as their father put something heavy into his trunk and drove off. The next morning, Shafilya was gone. There was an empty suitcase in the kitchen, and her parents were acting like nothing had ever happened. August 3rd, 2012. Iftika and Fazana were both found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 25 years.
Had been speaking directly to the jury. Though dead for 9 years, she had left the truth behind, with her sister, Alicia, her friends and teachers. They, as witnesses, repeated what Shafilya had told them.
If there is one thing that we pray will come from this, it is that her beautiful face and tragic story will inspire others to seek help that make them realise that this kind of vile treatment, no matter what culture or background they are from, is not acceptable and there is a way out.
Cheshire Police described the outcome as justice for Shafilya.
Over the years, many people have asked me, is this a so-called honour killing? For me, this is a simple case of murder. Domestic abuse by two parents towards the children. Domestic abuse is sadly something which the police have to deal with too often. It transcends culture, class, race and religion.
When the jury returned after 2 days' deliberation, Iftika Ahmed shook his head, his wife stared straight ahead with tears in her eyes, and 3 of their remaining grown-up children began to cry. As a teenager, Shafilya refused to conform to her parents' values by dyeing her hair, wearing stiletto heels and telephoning boyfriends. Believing their eldest daughter was bringing shame on the family, they took her to Pakistan, where they hoped to marry her off. This apparently joyless wedding there was exactly what the then 16-year-old dreaded. While she was still in the country, she drank bleach in an apparent suicide bid. The arranged marriage was called off. They couldn't control their daughter, so they killed her, though their son, Junaid, told the court that claims of murder had been a pack of lies.
As I've said in court, that's all I'm sticking to, so I've got nothing else to say.
That you think your mother and sister Alicia were lying?
As I've said in court, that's all I'm sticking to.
The jury rejected his story, and the judge told his parents, "Your concern about being shamed in your community was greater than the love of your child. Although you lived in Warrington, your social and cultural attitudes were those of rural Pakistan, and it was those which you imposed upon your children." In the months before the murder, the atmosphere at home in Warrington darkened. Shafilya went missing. The prime suspects, Shafilya's parents, were bugged at home by Cheshire Police. They were heard fretting about DNA and coaching the other children on what to say about Shafilya, but it wasn't enough for a conviction.
The family's own lives have been in turmoil, as you may well imagine.
Through a solicitor, they tried to divert attention elsewhere.
Now should be the time for them to be left to grieve and for the authorities to go elsewhere to find those truly responsible for any foul play.
The search uncovered few clues, and high-profile appeals for help were organised, including a reading of Shafilya's poems by a Coronation Street actress.
I don't pretend like we're the perfect family no more. Desire to live is burning. My stomach is turning. But they all think it's about honour.
Shafilya's decomposing body was found 70 miles from home, on the banks of the River Kent in Cumbria, 5 months after she'd gone missing. As time passed, the murder inquiry stalled, until 7 years after Shafilya's disappearance, something happened which immediately reignited it. The teenager's younger sister, Alicia, helped plan a robbery here at the family home. And when subsequently interviewed by the police, she revealed that, contrary to what she told them earlier, she had indeed witnessed her parents killing Shafilya. Alicia Ahmed described in detail how one night 7 years earlier her mother Fazana and father Iftika had pinned Shafilya down on a settee when Fazana said in Urdu, "Ete katam karsaro," just finish it here. a plastic bag was forced into their daughter's mouth. After a short struggle, Shafelia stopped breathing. They believed that Shafelia's lifestyle had brought dishonour upon the family. The most disturbing question remaining is how they thought that murdering their own daughter would somehow restore that honour.
Samia Shahid was born in 1987 in Bradford, West Yorkshire, England. Her family was originally from Pandori village in Punjab, Pakistan. Samia was described as a lovely, happy, bubbly, joking, beautiful person. She loved cars and she loved driving, but her family wouldn't allow her to drive, even though they owned a limousine car company, most likely as a way to control where she could go and what she could do. So she would have to rent cars undercover if she wanted to drive. Samia was a daddy's girl. She loved her father. She came from a very big family, and Samia loved them all. Her friends would say, quote, "The Pakistani values are, whatever happens, family comes first, no matter how much they shit on you. It's family, 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 and it's never gonna end." End quote. Samia loved her father so much that whatever he wanted she would do, which is why she went through with marrying her father's choice for her. In February of 2012, Samia was forced to fly to the family's village in Pakistan and marry her first cousin, Shakil, after he was released from prison in Pakistan for shooting someone in a land dispute. Her family took her shopping and let her buy whatever she wanted for the wedding, but failed to remember that money can't buy happiness. Samia's cousin, her new husband, had known her since she was a child, and he knew that she did not want to marry him, but never even tried to stop it. So Samia went through with the motions of getting married and just waited patiently until it was time for her to go back home. After the wedding, the two would live in the home that Samia's father had built for her. Shortly after that, Samia moved back home while Shakil waited to finalize his immigration papers. In October of 2013, Samia met and fell in love with Syed Kazim. They met through friends while at a restaurant. Syed was from Pakistan but lived and worked in Dubai. Syed described Samia as a very loving person who had such a way with words that she could steal anyone's heart. After meeting Syed, Samia would be told that Shakil's visa from the UK was rejected and that she would now have to go back to spend more time in Pakistan. Samia told Shakil that he needed to divorce her, but he refused. She was determined to follow her heart at all costs. So she secretly went to the imam in Bradford, who would agree to help her get a divorce through Sharia law. So on May 1st, 2014, Samia was granted a divorce without her family's knowledge. But Sharia is not recognized under UK law. September 7th, 2014, Samia and Shakil marry in a secret wedding with just friends and his family. Friends would say that they've never seen her happier than on that day. Samia was glowing and she looked like a princess. This was supposed to be her happily ever after.
Show me Wendy, Pianza. By the way.
This evening is not so down, I'm gonna get my nose.
Oh, it's so much that video. Her nose, her teeth, her smile, her laugh. She's so happy. She looks so alive. That day.
October 2014. Samia was walking through the park at night with her cousin's sister when she was attacked and beat with a bar, and her cousin's sister was not touched at all. So this was a very personal attack. After this, Syed had to return to Dubai for work, and Samia stayed back temporarily until she could get her visa to join him. In 2013, not surprisingly, Samia's family didn't approve of this wedding and asserted that the divorce from Shakil was not valid. They also asserted that the marriage to Syed was not valid, calling it a sham, and therefore concluding that Samia was committing adultery. Samia began to receive verbal threats from her family, and West Yorkshire police confirmed that she was subjected to verbal harassment by her mother prior to moving to Dubai. Immediately after moving to Dubai, her parents reported her to police as a missing person, even though they knew that she was not missing. As happy as Samia was in Dubai, she missed her family and she wanted to mend her relationship with her parents. Her father refused to speak to her as long as she was married, telling Syed that he needed to leave his daughter. Her mother would verbally abuse her on a constant basis, and her sister would tell her that Dad hates you and he doesn't want to see your face.
But what are we going to buy for ourselves? And I die laughing. Everything will change once baby will be born, when we'll come to know. The moment we'll come to know, I think everything will change, inshallah.
September 2015. Samia visits Bradford to see her family, but this meeting would not go well because in their eyes, Samia had shamed their family. Samia returned to Dubai, and 10 months later, she would receive a call that her aunt/mother-in-law had passed away. Samia was actually very close to her, and she took this loss very hard. That was when she decided that she wanted to go to Pakistan, but her husband strongly disagreed with this. A few months later, Samia would begin getting phone calls that her father was very ill and that he was not doing well and that she better come and see him. Samia's father was very sick with diabetes, and remember, she was a daddy's girl, so if anything ever happened to her father, she would never be able to forgive herself. Samia's husband, friends, and even Samia herself knew how dangerous this trip to Pakistan was. Her husband begged her not to go, but Samia was steadfast in the fact that she had to visit her father. She arrived in Pakistan on July 14, 2016, and spent the first night at a friend's house where she hid her passport and her return ticket, so she truly knew she was walking into dangerous territory. She was in constant contact with her husband during the trip. Samia's husband heard from her on July 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. July 20th, 2016, the day before she was to arrive home. The calls would stop that afternoon. Syed would call and call, but got no answer. Police would receive a call from Samia's father, who was sobbing, telling them, "My daughter has died." When police arrived at the home, they found Samia at the foot of the steps. Her father told police that Samia had fallen and died. When police asked her father where Samia's husband was, he told them that they had not seen him since she died. Police found it very suspicious that Shakil went into hiding after Samia's death. A post-mortem would be carried out and Samia would be buried the same day that she died. At 10 p.m. Dubai time, Samia's cousin called Syed and told him that Samia died of a heart attack. Syed flew to Pakistan and went straight to police. Once Syed showed police their marriage certificate and wedding photos, red flags went up and police knew this was a heinous act done in the name of honor. Samia's father would conduct an interview with BBC and deny even having knowledge of Syed's existence.
मैं दूसरे अपने घर में था, उनके घर में गया हूँ तो मैंने देखा है। मैंने फौरी पुलिस बुलाई है, जिन्होंने जाकर उन्होंने उनका पोस्टमार्टम करवाया है। जी पोस्टमार्टम करवाया। हाँ जी सही ठीक है। तो उसमें किसी किस्म की कोई सामने रिपोर्ट, कोई तशद्दुद, किसी किस्म का कुछ भी नहीं आया। मैं तो खुद चाहता हूँ कि मुझे पता चले कि मेरी बेटी के साथ क्या हुआ। काज़म कौन है कौन नहीं है, मैंने अभी नाम उसका सुना है। मेरी बेटी के खामन का नाम है मोहम्मद शकील और वो मोहम्मद शकील से शादीशुदा है। मोहम्मद शकील से खुशबाश रह रही थी, मोहम्मद शकील के घर रह रही थी और उसकी मम की फौत भी आई थी और ये कोई काज़म ब्लैकमेल कर रहा है, जाली डॉक्यूमेंट बना के।
After this, Samia's friend went to police and reported Samia's murder. Naz Shah reached out to Prime Minister of Pakistan and named it an honor killing. After this, Pakistanis looked further into Samia's death. Samia's family would tell police that Shakil was hell-bent on keeping Samia in Pakistan and breaking off this other marriage. When they secretly went through Samia's things, they were unable to find the passport and return ticket. Remember, her friend had it at her house. At around noon on July 20th, Shakil told her she needed to stay in Pakistan, and when she refused, he sexually assaulted her and then put a scarf around her neck and strangled her to death. Police confessions are inadmissible in Pakistani courts because they are usually done under duress. A further investigation proved Samia did not die of natural causes. Samia's father and Shakil were both arrested for her murder, but denied any wrongdoing. Shakil was detained on suspicion of Samia's murder. Samia's father was let go due to lack of evidence and passed away not long after of health complications.
I'm not the same person anymore. Even if I smile, even if I laugh, it's just a fake smile, it's just a fake laugh. She completed me in many ways. If I say all the ways, it won't be wrong. She did complete me.
Yeah. Okay, guys, if you're still here with me, thank you so much. It means everything to me. It really does. Please let me know what you thought of this one. Did you like it? Have you heard about any of these girls before? Which story horrified you the most? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm really, really curious, actually. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It really helps me out, especially since I'm so small. And until next time, thank you so much. I love you all.